Now, as I mentioned, this characteristically works well for us, except when it doesn't. And later we'll talk about some of the doesn't, some of the complications that can arise in bereavement. But first, we would like to focus on a particular technique, a technique initially sketched by another member of the Portland Institute faculty, a Dutch colleague whose name is Jacob van Wielink, who presents people with the opportunity to draw a secure base map of the relationships that have sustained them in the past, particularly when they face loss in the present. And here, drawing on the work of Kohlreiser, he distinguishes between two aspects of a secure base relationship: caring and daring, safety and risk-taking. That is, we attempt to offer a kind of balancing point in the context of therapy in which we not only can meet the other compassionately, holding them, if not in our arms, at least in our words and our attention, in our mindful presence, non-anxiously attending to stories that others will anxiously avoid. We try to provide safety for the work that will ensue. That's the caring piece. But on the other hand, this same therapeutic relation represents that kind of launching pad into daring to take risks in living forward without this, for this person, to again step into a world that they now have to relearn in the context of loss, as they may even need to relearn themselves in the context of that same loss. To do this, what Jacob invites people to do is to draw a kind of map, a map divided into a past, a present, and a future dimension, maybe taking a piece of paper and folding it into thirds and unfolding it and having each of the panels represent one of these temporal horizons of life. And then in a kind of honest way, maybe to close their eyes for a few moments and to ask themselves the question, where, in what relationships or contexts in the past did I experience a sense of deep security, of being validated, given the kind of attention I required? Who held me in their words or arms in ways that helped me find myself and my way forward from my earliest childhood until this point in my life, really, this chapter of my life? And reflecting then on these chapters, the person is invited to describe, well, when I pursued that diploma program, I felt really secure and at home in that. And my father was a really important person for me. And, the small town in which I was born, I always felt at home there, not only in my house, but in the whole town. And I have this neighbor who really filled in for me, and my family was a little chaotic, but she was just wonderful. I always felt like she was like a second mother to me. When I played a musical instrument, I always loved music, and that was a big part of where I felt comfortable and at peace and kind of settled. So people will then just enter these in the past horizon, moving attention forward to the present, asking ourselves the question again, who now or what now provides a kind of context of security for me? And here is represented these with additional words, including our current job or position. And then to imagine at a point beyond this point, when the chapters of our lives again evolve and the pages of time sort of flutter forward, what do we expect will give us a sense of security and worth at that point? Will it be the same people? Will it be different ones? And here we can see some hypothetical responses that anchor that. Now, in our own work with this method, Carolyn and I tend to encourage people to do it artistically, to draw a secure base map, again, in this temporal horizon of past, present, and future, but to use maybe simple images alongside words. This was someone who had lost a husband in the context of military service. And what she drew here were some evocative images of her childhood in Hawaii and her first love, Dave, and the kind of eternal sunshine of the islands. She felt very at home there. She draws a schematic depiction of her family, her grandparents. In the present, she moves forward. She adds her children. This heart image pervades all three dimensions, as you see, even though that heart is changing and growing larger and more colorful as it moves forward. Her friends, her family, her new husband, Jim, the organization, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, or TAPS, for Bonnie Carroll's group that provides support for the U.S. military losses in combat and in other ways. And then as she looks forward to the future, she projects herself not into Hawaii, but into Arizona, where she hopes to retire with her husband. And she has a growing number of kids and grandkids in the family, as you can see. And she has several hobbies she looks forward to picking up again, and she imagines that these will also be secure bases. What we're encouraging people to do in this way, whether we're in a therapeutic group or a family therapy setting, or even as a kind of between session homework assignment in an individual therapy, is simply to take a few minutes to depict their own secure base map. And today we have with us